Hi, my name is Brian Short,
And I'm Logan Pierce.
and this is our manager leader interview presentation. Our interview was with Evan Simmons, general manager of Bella's Boone. Bella's is on Boone Heights Drive, 21, same road as the Burger King is in Boone, same road as the bowling alley there. It's in a little strip. It's an Italian restaurant in the area for many years. Evan has been working in the restaurant business for over 20 years himself, but only at Bella's for about 3 to 4 years as manager. In addition to being a manager, he's also the bartender, so he does multiple different things around the restaurant, and he has a wide variety of different responsibilities that he has to fulfill.
All right, so we asked him what some of his daily managerial tasks were, and he informed us that generally what he does is he comes in, tends the bar, makes sure everything is done where it's needed, similar to writing checks, paying the vendors, and that includes, of course, alcohol and food. Um, he definitely fills in where he's needed, so if somebody needs some help grabbing ice or carrying a plate, he would do that. And ultimately just overseeing the whole operations and making sure what's done is done correctly. We also asked him, how would you describe your managing style? He told us flat out that he was unorthodox. He isn't like the typical manager. He doesn't like to stand above others and bark orders down. He likes to work with people. And he also likes to use positive reinforcement instead of using negative reinforcement. We also asked him what skills would help you manage effectively. He said the biggest thing was to be smart. You have to understand what people are going through and also the business that you're working in. That also includes understanding your customers and what they want. He also informed us that being attentive is a big thing. You have to make sure that appearances are being kept up and that you do everything that needs to be done. What is the most difficult part of managing? The most difficult part is keeping up with the employees. You have to deal with people that don't really enjoy their company, and you have to put them in the same building and make them work together for a couple hours. And ultimately, getting there on time is always going to be the most important part.
All right. So, how do you deal with these employees? First thing we asked him was, how do you manage new versus old staff? And he says he tries to treat his staff similarly, regardless of how long they've been there. He wants to create a stress-free environment, make everyone feel welcome, not just play favorites with some of the old staff or treat the new staff like they don't know what they're doing. He wants to just be equally welcoming to all of his employees. We asked, how do you encourage productivity and staff motivation? One of the things he said that actually motivates staff is shifts, because when you're working in a restaurant, the better shifts you have, the more money you're going to make, waiter especially. So it makes better shifts, better staff, staff work harder, and it makes the busy shifts run more smoothly and increases productivity. Another thing he said was to communicate with staff, let them know when they're doing well or need to improve, so they know how well they're doing and they know that they're doing all right, or this is they need to work on, or that. And he said just being aware of problems that can rise up with the staff is very important. What are strategies that you use to improve productivity and performance of your employees? He says he trains his employees one-on-one during their first week, making sure they're trained the way he wants them to. He tries to not, pass the buck, stay on to other people. He wants to make sure, doing employees he would want to be done. He wants them to know how to do things as long as they're there. He says he provides motivational talks to the employee if they need improvement. And he says importantly to be honest with your employees and let them know what they're doing poorly and what they're doing well, so that they know how to improve themselves. Because if you don't know how to improve, you can't even start. How important are interpersonal relationships with employees to you? He says this is honestly one of the most important things dealing with employees. It's very important. He says if your employees like you, they're more likely to work hard for you. Employees that don't like their boss and are just going to scrape by and do the bare minimum. He also says that if employees trust you, they're more likely to come to you with a problem, and they won't keep those things hidden until they reach like a boiling point. So that was something he said was really important, just making sure your employees feel comfortable talking to you. And how do you handle conflict in the workplace? He said it starts with identifying the problem, because you can't fix a problem that you don't know is there. And if two employees are having a problem between each other, it's best to get them to talk it out amongst themselves and to deal with the core issue of the problem, or else it'll continue to persist and bring up more problems in the future. And to improve personal relationships through communication and team building. So making sure your employees are working together constantly and are talking to each other throughout their shifts, because that's just a key part of running a successful business. Making sure your back of house is working with the house and with that.
All right, so what are some of the responsibilities of someone in a leadership position? Ultimately, keeping an eye on everything is extremely important. You have to know what's going on in your business, and that includes employees, front and back of house, like mentioned earlier. And also, you have to make sure that your employees are doing their work correctly. So that includes handling the money, ordering and making food, making sure the stock is kept up, because if you run out of something, that's going to be a really bad day. We also asked him what are some of the biggest challenges that you faced, and ultimately managing the cost of operations, dealing with labor and stock and vendors and everything like that is definitely a chore. He said that takes up a good bit of his time, and in specific ordering, he said that was really rough for him in terms of time management. But he also said that making sure the workplace runs at peak efficiency is extremely important. If you're not optimized, then you're not going to be making as much money as you could if you were. And then another thing that goes into play is making sure each employee is operating to the best of their ability in their job set. We asked him, what advice would you give to someone in a leadership position? And he said, good luck.